Good morning, Texoma. I'm Ashley Fitzwater. Thanks for joining us for another look inside Texoma. This morning, I am joined with Utilities Operations Manager with City of Wichita Falls, Mr. Daniel Nix. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
And we are taking a dive into the Wichita Falls water and how it really affects you, and of course, how the drought, this drought, how it's had an impact now on our water and how you can water outdoors, and of course, the stage 2 drought warning that we're in right now. So let's get straight to it. How is this affecting residents?
Well, as you know, we've been in a stage 1 since last August, so it's been almost a full year that we've been in stage 1 drought watch. And about the middle of June, the lake levels started declining again, and it's prompted us to go ahead and go into stage 2 drought warning, which forces us to go into the mandatory type restrictions of watering your lawn with spray irrigation once a week, not washing down driveways and sidewalks, no car washes, things like that.
So basically, we all receive those little maps in the mail, and you each have a day that you can water your lawn.
Exactly.
Or so is that also the day if you wanted to wash your car, you can do that, but it has to be with the spray, or what are the rules then?
Sure. The map is only for spray irrigation.
Okay.
So we're restricting your spray irrigation of your lawns to once a week. If you want to stand outside and water your lawn with a hose, you can do that any day. Now, there's also the year-round restriction of no spray irrigation between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m., and that is still applicable even if it's your day to water. Don't water during the heat of the day. The map does not apply to washing sidewalks or washing your car. Those are absolute no-nos.
Okay, right now you just cannot do that.
You can't do it. If you want to wash your car, you need to go to a commercial car wash where they practice recycling. And the only way that you're allowed to wash your sidewalk or drive is if there is an immediate health or safety concern.
So if something is spilled basically there, then maybe you can spray it off really quickly.
Yeah, but otherwise we're recommending that people sweep their sidewalks and drives.
What is the purpose of this? And, you know, kind of say the obvious here. I mean, is the goal to save water? Is that something that you see happens and will happen?
Yeah, the goal for stage 2 is to reduce our water consumption by 15%. Now that's not a lot. That's just intended to get us hopefully to the next rain event that will start filling the lakes back up. What we're seeing out of the public is that overall they're abiding by the rules. We are seeing a reduction in the water, and we're hoping that after 30 days after we've triggered the stage 2, we can come back to the public, give them an update on how well or not well they've done.
So is there a chance then that could be lifted if they've, say, done a great job, or is it more so, no, we would have to take a further step?
The only way that you can lift the restrictions is for the lakes to go up. The feedback to the public on whether we're meeting that goal or not is just to say, good job, or we need to be doing a better job.
Sure. Basically that, just feedback.
Exactly.
So when can we anticipate the first round of feedback from this?
We will get back with the public approximately 30 days after we had triggered, which was June the 11th. And so sometime middle of July, we'll have all of, we'll have all of the data, and we'll send some feedback out to the public letting them know how they've done.
Now what about kiddie pools or things like that?
We have not restricted kiddie pools or even residential pools at this point. We do have the restriction in the ordinance that you're restricted from wasting water, period. And that's kind of a catch-all in the ordinance. So yes, you can have the slip and slides and the water worms going in the front yard for the kids to play with right now, as long as the kid's in it.
Sure.
You can't just stick it in there and let the kids go in and let it keep going.
That's your irrigation or something, huh?
If we see that, we will issue a citation for wasting water. If it's running down the curb and there's no kid to be found for 2 city blocks, we have a problem with that. But if the kids are playing in it, obviously, that's not a problem right now. You would see things like that actually going away when we got to stage 3.
Going to have to just take more action then to conserve more water.
Exactly.
Is there a fear or a concern, I guess would be a better word, that we might go into stage 3 this year?
It's always a possibility. The city plans for that. We have our drought plan in place, and we actually have a plan together that goes all the way to stage 4, which is below 30%. The last drought that we had of significance was the 1999-2000 drought, and we actually did drop to 32%, which if we get to the same condition, we would be well into stage 3. It's the only time we've hit it in the 26 years I've been with the city.
Hopefully then we won't add to that,
Yes.
that streak. Now, if that happens though, what are some of the things that you're looking at? What would some of those restrictions then be?
We have a water resource committee that answers to the city council on developing what happens at stage 3 and stage 4. Stage 3 has an additional 20% reduction tacked onto it, so that would be an overall 35% that we're looking to reduce our water consumption. You would look at possibly the irrigation completely going away. No spray irrigation, you only can water by hand. The restriction of pools, kid toys out in the yard, possibly shutting down even the car washes for maybe 1 day a week. When we get into stage 3 and as we approach stage 4, the city's concern is to eliminate as much non-essential use. At stage 4, we would just be trying to keep you alive and keep you safe. And so we're trying to conserve that water supply for sanitary reasons and for fire protection.
Both important causes.
Very important.
Now, what would the lake levels have to be before it got to stage 3? Because we've talked about in stage 2, it's 50%, correct? Yes. That's the mark you're looking at.
All of the triggers now are at 10% increments. So at 40%, we would trigger a stage 3, and at 30%, we would trigger stage 4.
Okay, so hopefully we'll not get anywhere near that 40%. So, well, we need to take a quick break, but we have so much more to get to. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Inside Texoma and how this drought is affecting you. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Once again, we are talking about the drought and how it's really affecting you, specifically Wichita Falls residents. Now, we are at 50.2% right now. Can you explain to everyone why we're at this and why we've been at this stage for a little bit of time?
We calculate the lake levels at least once a week, every week, sometimes more, and we develop a projection. And when we triggered the stage 2, we had developed a projection that said that we were going to be at 50% on or near this day. So the City Council and the Director of Public Works decided that now was the time to trigger. A couple of days after we triggered, we started getting some rain, and the lake levels went up slightly, about 1%. And so rather than come out of that drought triggering, we said we were going to stay in it and just let everybody get used to the once a week watering until it dropped back down to 50%, which right now it's on its way back down.
Yeah, absolutely. Something else that I think is pretty interesting, you know, we see the rain, we have a downpour here, and you think, okay, why are they not going up? Why are the levels not up? I had so much rain at my house. But you were saying the watersheds are actually in different locations.
Lake Kickapoo's watershed is the smallest watershed that we've got, and it's basically eastern Baylor County, a little triangle there. So even if it rains over in Seymour, that's too far west. That water's not even going to run into Kickapoo. It goes into the Brazos watershed. Now Lake Arrowhead has a slightly larger watershed. It encompasses the majority of Archer County. So if it rains anywhere in Archer County, that water flows into Lake Arrowhead. If you get a rain event in Wichita Falls, that water goes into the big Wichita River. It doesn't enter any of our watersheds. So a rain event here doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get water in the lakes.
All it basically means is good news for your yard, I guess.
Exactly.
Well, you know, we'll take that too, whatever we can get. But that's pretty interesting. So Eastern Baylor's for Kickapoo and then Archer County for Arrowhead.
Yes.
So just something to keep in mind there. And kind of moving on to the treatment of that and really, how this water all kind of comes about. Can you tell us, you said once a week is actually when y'all go out there and you test, correct? But after it goes through that cycle, kind of moving on to just the basic treatment, can you tell us a little more about how that is treated and then sent out to other areas as well?
Sure. The water comes in from Kickapoo and Arrowhead, and we blend it inside the city, and we send it to the water treatment plants, and it has to go through 7 steps that are mandated by the state of Texas. We actually send it through several more that we mandate here in Wichita Falls. And then we store it and pump it out to the citizens for their use. And we also are a regional water supplier for several communities around Wichita Falls.
And what are some of those other areas?
We supply water to Shepherd Air Force Base, Burke-Burnett, Iowa Park, Holiday, Deendale, Scotland, a lot of other municipalities and municipal utility districts. There's about 15 of them.
So all of them also depending upon Wichita Falls for their water source then, correct?
They are depending on us, and they're also under the same restrictions.
Are they? Okay.
Once we trigger a stage 2 and put restrictions on the citizens of Wichita Falls, we also require the municipalities that purchase water from us to get a 15% reduction in how much water they're taking from us also.
So their restrictions could be different, but the idea is they're being asked to save as well.
That's right.
Correct.
They have to trigger their drought plan, which is completely different from ours, and demonstrate that 15% reduction.
So is there ever a point that it would get, if it's stage 4 or whatever it might be, that unfortunately maybe you wouldn't be able to sell water to other areas?
Unfortunately, the way Texas water law is structured, I would never be able to completely cut the municipalities around Wichita Falls off. We have a contract with them. Texas water law states that whatever I restrict the citizens of Wichita Falls to, I have to restrict the municipalities to also.
Okay. So they're not going to just go without water or something if for some reason it gets really low. It would just be low restrictions across the board basically.
That's
for
correct.
Everyone. So that's pretty interesting. Something to keep in mind is, as well too, that a lot of Texoma is dealing with this as well. So, yes. And again, just kind of going back to these decisions that are made, who is making all of these decisions? Isn't it a group of people that are actually put together, a board that studies this and really evaluates the best decisions?
You are correct. The City Council has a Water Resources Committee of individuals that meet periodically throughout the year, and it's their responsibility to look at the ordinance, look at what we have in place to see if it's working. And they really guide the council. They guide the Director of Public Works on how we conserve water, how we implement our drought plan. And every 5 years, they're responsible for reviewing that drought plan, making changes to it, and then submitting it to the state for approval.
When was the last time they did that?
2008. So we are actually up for renewal next year. We're going to take everything that we're learning in this drought and make the drought plan better for the next drought.
Going to say, well, that can be the good thing that comes out of all of this. A lot of experience in dealing with drought, so it'd be a really good plan that they will have put together for others as well. Well, again, don't go anywhere. We actually have a bit of good news to also share with you about the water and the water of Wichita Falls, so you don't want to miss that. It's right after the break on Inside Texoma.